Welcome back to another beautiful edition of ONS. I am your host for this evening. It's been a little while, but in my brief absence, there has been lots of Dark Souls news and happenings. I'll talk a little bit about that, as well as talking about the footage you're seeing featuring the Epic Grant. So, a few weeks ago, upon actually getting the grant from Paladin Leroy, I started to look at it and seriously consider it as a viable weapon. I've fought Paladin Leroy maybe 15 times, and this was the only time he had dropped it, so that may shed some light on its rarity. I think that alone makes it an interesting weapon, because you can perhaps count on the fact that your opponent does not know what it's capable of. Perhaps you may not even know. Well, as you can see before you, the two-handed R2 move of the Grant is a more powerful version of Wrath of the Gods. This is your trump card. This is what will win you fights. The unexpected explosion will catch your opponents off guard and hopefully knock them flat on their ass. Not only that, but the damage it doles out with its physical hits is very high. It scales with both strength and faith, and that's also perhaps one of its downsides. You will need 50 strength and 30 faith to wield it. That's essentially 60 levels you'll need to commit to this build, excluding vitality and endurance, the other two important PvP stats. For this build, I am using base vitality and endurance, which is like 11 or 12 for whatever this class was. This puts me at a huge disadvantage because I cannot swing the Grant repeatedly, nor do I have that much health. It is a high risk, high reward type build. This leaves you relying on its two-handed R2 to save you, and you can only use the two-handed R2 explosion twice per invasion. With all that being said, the Grant is both a huge advantage and a huge hindrance. As you can see by my armor, I'm opting for being very light, as the Grant also weighs 24 pounds. If I were any heavier, I would be subject to being hit repeatedly, or worse, backstabbed. That is why I have the Dark Wood Grain Ring equipped, and Royal Helm and Brigand Armor. Admittedly, I think it's a nice look, and all the armor itself is close to max out as my shield is. I might do a follow-up video when this character is a higher level, thus having higher vitality and endurance, and being all the more deadly. Currently, I'm using a bandit knife in my second hand due to it being very light, as well as having Dark Moon Blade as a buff, because the Grant cannot be buffed because it already has magic damage applied to it. Hopefully with the video you're able to see the devastating effects of the Grant when it's properly used. Keep in mind also, with each two-handed R2 blast, you are wasting 200 durability on the weapon. You will need to constantly repair it between matches or have plenty of repair powder handy. The repair powder, however, only heals 100 durability per use and will take 4 uses to fully repair the Grant, which is a tall order to do within a match itself. Personally, I had a lot of fun using it when it worked, and was cursing the fuck out of the thing when it caused me to lose. It's not as reliable perhaps as something like a Claymore or a Zweihander, but has way more offensive potential, as well as having the ability to take your opponent out by surprise. So yeah, give it a try. It's certainly a fun, interesting weapon, and I hope with Prepare to Die coming out soon that they add more weapons of this ilk. Weapons that are not only incredibly powerful, but are unique in a move that they have. Like how the Stone Greatsword has Tranquil Walk of Peace as its two-handed R2. We saw something similar, perhaps, in the new Artorias of the Abyss trailer, where Hawkeye Go does a sweeping leg kick, which perhaps is its pushback R1 move or L2 move. It's hard to say. We've already got such weapon variety that any new weapons added hopefully will have unique swings or unique abilities to them. As for the new content, how I see it, Dark Souls comes out on PC in August with brand new content. Then, in the winter, the Artorias of the Abyss DLC is released to consoles, which is the same content as the PC users got, as well as Dark Souls being re-released in full to stores with the new DLC included. If that is the case, as I just detailed, then I am very excited, and will be waiting until winter, sadly, to play it, as I don't have a gaming PC. I'll continue to give you guys Dark Souls content in the months to come, let me know of other things you may want to see within the game. As far as dissecting the trailer for Artorias of the Abyss, if you're watching this, I'm sure you've already seen Epic Name Bro's video on it, and I think he covers the bases. It's all pretty speculative at this point. I don't see too much of this mystery being revealed until the content is actually out. All I can really say is that I want to see Sif show up at some point and do something valiant to try and save Artorias' life. All of us have a soft spot for that big dog in our hearts, and I can't see the From Software guys not trying to do something epic with Sif and Artorias, given what we already know of their history. One curious note that I'll end the video on is how PvP is going to work once this content is out. For example, if I have the Artorias DLC, will I be able to invade people without the DLC? Because surely there will be new weapons, armor, magic, and rings. This will put me at a competitive advantage over anyone who does not have the DLC. Will I not be able to invade people without the new content, or will the items perhaps be locked to the region of Ulasil? Regardless, new locales will be very interesting to invade in, as I've sort of run dry of new places to kill people in Dark Souls. I try to vary it for you guys in the videos. As you can tell, this was alternating between Catacombs and the Second Sen's Bonfire. Anyways, my PSN is in the description if you want to play sometime, and thanks to all 100 subscribers. I just hit that mark and I can't thank you guys enough. But until next time, Ornstein out.